Hi, my name is Adam Vink, and I'm going to give you XTV's guide to the Iowa Caucuses. If you haven't gone to a caucus before, and you plan on going to this one, you might want to know what you're in for. There is actually quite a bit to it, and it isn't the easiest process in the world, especially if you're a Democrat. That being said, I completely encourage everybody in the state of Iowa to go out and caucus, because it's not just voting for who's going to be the next president of the United States, but it's also how your party organizes. It's a very important thing, and it's something that's kind of unique to Iowa. We do at least in the Democratic Party, it's pretty much run by the people. And so there we go. That is a great reason to do it. If you wanted to get involved in politics and actually make a difference, the caucus is a really good place to get your start, to make some connections in the party, to get to know some people. So, first of all, why go to the caucus at all? I mean, does your vote count? Yes, it does. It does matter. Personally was in a very small town, McGregor, in 2008, and with my participation was able to split the delegate count between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton in a very small, very, you could say, conservative type of town, although I think there are more Democrats there than Republicans, but it's also a very poor place. It's also lovely. You should go if you haven't been. Anyway, so there was that. Iowa made Jimmy Carter. And then on the Republican side, it is a little bit more of a who's the evangelical Christian's favorite choice. And I mean, occasionally an establishment politician can come in and do a great job, like I'm thinking George W. Bush, and win it. But it's a lot easier if you're an evangelical Christian, which doesn't necessarily reflect what is the National Republican Party, but it is the Iowa Republican Party. And if you're an evangelical Christian and you want to have the party remain that way, that would be a great thing for you to do. If you're a mainstream Republican, maybe you should go out and caucus, because it is the religious zealots out there who are the ones that are caucusing. That's up to you. All right, so it is February 1st. It'll be cold. February 1st, 2016. It starts at 7 o'clock. The caucus locations are not necessarily your normal polling locations. The parties decide where they're going to be. Mine has jumped around the city all over the place. So it changes every year. The best thing to do if you want to find your caucus location is contact a campaign that you want to caucus for, or to go onto your state party's website. So the Iowa State Democrats have their own website. The Iowa Republicans have their own website. The caucus locations, they have a nice little finder. It's easy to find, or just Google it. It's not going to be that hard to find. But make sure that you're going to the right location, because yeah, if you go to the wrong location, you won't be able to caucus, and it's 7 o'clock, doors close, forget about it. All right. These things last 2 to 3 hours, and I know that's a hell of a commitment, especially the Democrats. The Republicans, I think, do get out a little bit faster, but what happens at the Democratic side takes a long time. And voting is interesting as well. The GOP does theirs with a straw poll. I believe it is a secret ballot, but it might be a show of hands. I've never gone to a Republican one, but I do know that they have an actual vote that takes place at the precinct caucuses. That is different than the Democrat side. The Democratic side does a thing where you physically are put into your groups for who you're caucusing for. And so if you wanted to caucus for Mickey Mouse, you could do that at this thing. Martin O'Malley, there's no reason. Sorry. There's really no reason, like, if you support your candidate, why you shouldn't go. Now, again, on the Democratic side, if that candidate that you support doesn't get a certain threshold, it's called the viability threshold. If they don't make that, then you get to vote again. So you say you are a Martin O'Malley fan, big time, died in the heart, but you're kind of discouraged because you're only getting 5% in the polls. Well, go, show up, make your stand. You can even make a speech to the other people around you. There's no limitations against that, and try to get people to vote for Martin O'Malley with you. If you don't make the threshold, then you get to vote again. So then you're like, well, I now get the choice between Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders. And so, that's kind of cool. It doesn't matter who you support, like your vote's going to count. If you're not viable in your precinct, then you get to vote again. And I think that's wonderful. I know plenty of people in the 2008 election cycle who were, Richardson fans, Edwards, although Edwards was viable in most precincts. I think Wes Clark wasn't in there this time, but there were several not viable candidates, and those people went, in my precinct at least, went to Barack Obama, and that's what caused us to even it out the delegate split with the Hillary Clinton people. So that's kind of how it works on the Democratic side. Why does it take 2 to 3 hours? Well, it's because the party is actually organizing itself at that time. It's a grassroots action. So you basically vote on who's going to be the representatives from your precinct at the county convention. And then, so you're a delegate at that point. You go to the county convention, and then after that, you can go to you convene with the county convention. I believe those are in March, April, somewhere in there, and then you could go to the regional and state conventions. Now, all of these posts are elected. A lot of people run for them unopposed because if you do take on being a delegate or being a central committee member or anything, actually, I mean, it's a commitment that kind of blows. I've done it. I have been not as good as I should be at it. I should be really involved because I'm a party guy, but whatever. Okay, so I mean, if you really, really wanted to make a change and you wanted to, put your imprint on your party, this is the time to do it. You get in there, and then you can, join the platform committee at the if you're a delegate. You can, as your central committee member, you can show how the county, you can work with the county, those floats there and parades, that's the Democratic Party or whatever, the Republican Party, those are put on by your county Democratic Party. And all the posts are available for, as you go down the convention line, you get these posts available to you. So if that's what you want to do, that's available for you. All right. So I'm just going to briefly talk about the field in Iowa. Today is January 13th, so we're roughly 2.5 weeks away from the caucus. Right now in the GOP field, it looks like it's toss-up between Ted Cruz and Donald Trump. I have opinions about both guys, and I personally don't like either one, but there's plenty of reasons if you don't either and you're a Republican to go and caucus, because if you look at a third place finish, or if one of those two guys don't perform as well as they should have and they get third and your guy gets second, it's an automatic launch of your campaign into New Hampshire, which follows the next week, 8 days later. It could give your candidate the fuel. Say you're a Chris Christie fan. Chris Christie's doing really great in New Hampshire right now, but he's not doing so great in Iowa. But, you like your guy, and so you could go to the caucus, put your vote in for the guy, and your voice will be heard. And you remember that these caucuses are usually the elite, not the elite is a bad word, but it's like the refined people of the party. So the party hardliners, if you want to say. So Rubio, I think, could make a good stand in Iowa, and if he does, then he's that candidate. To me, he's the establishment candidate that would work for the Republicans. They would have a good chance of winning. On the Democratic side, of course, we've got the aforementioned Martin O'Malley, who's getting about 3% in the state of Iowa. That doesn't mean you shouldn't go out and caucus for him, and because you never know, maybe there'll be like a late surge. Who knows? But it's pretty much between Wow, it's between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. So as people know, Hillary Clinton is Hillary Clinton, and Bernie Sanders is surging right now, especially in the state of Iowa. He is doing it nationwide too. And my advice to everybody no matter what party you are or whatever, research all the candidates. Take a real look at what the real important issues are. I mean, it isn't what is being talked about in the election. So do some research. Vote with your mind, not your heart. Don't think about things like electability, or because we just don't know. Like, that's silly. It's silly to base your vote on things like that. Vote for who you really think is the best candidate, who's really going to be the best for. This is the job interview for President of the United States of America. Enough said. Um, a few other little housekeeping things I want to talk about. If you are not registered to vote, I believe you can still register and still be able to caucus at this point. There is a cutoff date, I believe. If you're not a registered Republican or Democrat, you're an independent or a Green or Libertarian or whatever party that you've signed up for in the past, or no party, which is what I've been for a long time actually, until I go to these things. You can actually sign, if you're registered to vote already in that precinct, you can't, well, it's not even the precinct. If you're registered to vote in the state of Iowa, you can show up on caucus night, and you'll have to fill out a new voter registration card, but it'll make you of that party. And the thing is it doesn't tie you directly into the party. It will, it'll actually, it won't, yeah, like you can go to the auditor's office the next day and change it. It's like to be a no party again, so you're not on people's voter rolls and not having your door knocked on or your phone blow up or whatever. So there's that. If you're under, okay, so anybody 18 or over can do this, but because of the way Iowa is, and very inclusive, you can actually caucus if you're 17 and a half or older. If you're going to be 18 on election day, November, whatever it is, first Tuesday in November, if you are 17 and a half, let's say, you can caucus. You can, you know, it's awesome. It'll probably take place in your high school. I did it for Bill Clinton in 1996 when I was 17. So, because I was going to turn 18 that May and available to vote in the election in November, which I did. Yeah, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I am a veteran of, I don't know, I've been to every caucus except for, I believe, Al Gore's 2000 caucus. So that's pretty good track record, 96 to 2016, missing one presidential caucus. Yeah, it's important. Go out, vote, use your voice. We are not stuck with the politics that we have. We can fix it. Choose your candidates wisely and go out there and vote. All right, that's all I got. That is your guide to the Iowa Caucuses 2016. I'm Adam Vink. Have a great rest of your night or day.